My name is Helena Molin Valdés. I'm heading up a secretariat for the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, and this secretariat is hosted by the United Nations Environment Programme. And our organization, the Climate and Clean Air Coalition to reduce short-lived climate pollutants, is a big partnership driven by the partners, and the partners include now 50 countries, 60 organizations from the international community, from the NGO community, from scientific technical organizations, and an increasing number of private sector entities and city local governments. So the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, as its names tell you, is dealing with one particular set of climate forcers, which are the short-lived ones, short-lived climate pollutants. The reason why they are short-lived is that they stay in the atmosphere for a week, like in the case of black carbon and tropospheric ozone, up to 12 years in the case of methane, and up to a decade and a half in the case of some of the hydrofluorocarbons, which are used as refrigerants or cooling devices. Our mission is to work to substantially reduce these pollutants using existing technology and scaling up policies and practices to that extent, both with governments and with private sector entities and subnational entities. The reason why we are here is to provide to the parties and to the participants at the COPs with information, so they are fully aware of the complementary role it means to actively address and quickly reduce short-lived climate pollutants as I mentioned, complement to CO2 mitigation, because by doing so, in the next 15 to 20 years, we could really help bend the curve towards staying below 2 degrees by 2050. And by scientific studies that we are basing our work on, tells us that by systematically implementing up to a 16-20 number of measures, very concrete climate mitigation and air quality abatement measures, we could actually achieve up to 0.6 degree avoided warming by 2050. So the Climate and Clean Air Coalition work on specific initiatives in specific sectors in 11 different major initiatives. They include household energy, which means working on cleaner cook stoves and cooking fuels, which is one of the biggest harmful air pollutants that contribute to the up to 7 million deaths that WHO has recently confirmed is the biggest environmental health risk, actually, indoor and outdoor air pollution. A big amount of those deaths are from particulate matter, into which black carbon and soot is a very important component, and that's what we are trying to avoid. We're also working on issues around the clean diesel, heavy-duty diesel vehicles, to improve bus fleets and also heavy-duty diesel standards, and improve the green freight. We are working on areas such as improved brick kilns and brick production, bricks. By burning bricks, it's a huge complement, let's say a polluter of black carbon. We are working with the oil and gas industry for them to adopt practices that avoid leakage of methane, which is a very good energy source, but when it's released in the atmosphere, it becomes a hugely forcing factor to global warming. And we're also working on in the agriculture space, working in improving rice paddy alternative wetting and drying to avoid the methane emissions. We are working on avoiding open burning, we are agriculture waste, and we are working on manure management to avoid methane. We were launched 3 years ago, so now we are a mature partnership. We have a partnership of, as I mentioned, 50 governments at a very high level, political commitment level. And the next step that we are using this platform to launch is that we have a 5-year strategic plan from now 2015 to 2020 to scale up the activities and the transformational change that we are trying to achieve through our activities, we are also working on much more robust support through different policy forums, both on the health side, on the climate side, but also in the context of sustainable development, because this is really in many countries a development issue of improving cooking, heating, food security, etc. And finally, we are in this 5-year plan wanting to leverage and increase the capacity to fund and finance this type of activities within climate financing space, but also within different financial portfolios. And to do so, an underpinning work that we are launching in bigger scale now is to improve the knowledge and scientific understanding and basis of the mitigation potential of the different actions to be taken. I think that some of the barriers is a lack of understanding and awareness of what's happening. A positive barrier, or let's say an opportunity, is that clean air and air pollution is getting higher and higher on many city agendas because it's physically and let's say population-wise, it's unacceptable to live in very dirty, air-polluted cities. And so that's an opportunity. But the barrier again becomes, of course, related to development and how do you grow and development base by applying technology that actually exists to make it cleaner, but without then, within the scale of markets that you have available. So better engines, better building materials, better cook stoves, etc. It's also an issue of developing countries not having the access, and people in developing countries or in vulnerable areas all over the world not having the access to some of this available technology that will provide for better climate and clean air at the same time.